Welcome back. Josh and I today are talking about trim guns. This is kind of a nice little guy. It's obviously a not a pneumatic. It's cordless.
No, this is Paslode.
Yep.
Paslode is by far, in my opinion, the best trim guns out there.
When I was a siding guy, we used a ton of Paslodes. And if you don't know, Paslode's a little different than other ones, where it's got a separate little fuel cell in here. Well, that's much smaller than the ones I used to work with. And then a battery. So what the battery does is just basically running a spark. It's just like an engine. So it shoots gas into a cylinder, and it fires it, I mean, with high velocity.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones that I've had, I've never worked with these, but I'm assuming you're going to tell us how awesome they are. But
I bought these for all the trailers,
I will tell you that I have a less expensive model, and they said it drove into deep wood, and it did, but the nail head speed was so slow that it tended to follow the grain and get way more blowouts than I would than if I was doing pneumatic. I've not used these, but I almost guarantee you that's not a problem.
No,
with these.
so this is actually like a gun. It has a gas for it, and then obviously the battery for sparks. This is their 18 gauge. It's 4.25 pounds. They run the lithium-ion batteries. They're 7.4 volts. They're running. Now this one here holds 70 nails. It'll do 12,000 nails on one charge in the battery, but the cartridge will only do 1,200. So you'll have to replace the cartridge.
But still, that's a lot. So this is before these type of tools for trimmers, where basically, if I got to do a short repair and I don't want to set it, I just got a couple staples, I'll bring it in and do it without having to setting up my hole. But these things, you can go all day with these guys.
Exactly, and they're high. These are commercial grade. I mean, the plastic that they're made out of, they're durable. And like you said, this replaces the hose and the compressor and the noise. Yeah, they make a little noise and kick, and we put some earplugs in.
It does feel, I mean, these
very comfortable. Overhead work they're great for. Yeah. The other thing I really love is they got the hooks on them. So left or right, what do you want to do?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's really nice. Also the depth, you can set the depth right here. No pulling tools out, anything like that. They also have it so if you get a jam up, you can clean the head out. You just pull it apart right there. The ram's right there.
What's nice about that is, taken care of. And it has the dry fire thing, right?
Yeah, so dry fire, that's a great point, Mark, to mention. So if there's something in here and you go to fire.
There was something in there.
There's a nail in there. I had a nail in there. Well, when there's not a nail, I'll show you the big brother. So this is the big brother.
Yeah,
this is the 16 gauge.
15, 16.
Yep, and this is angled, which I love for doing overhead, toe kicks, stuff like that. Building cabinets, it's a great gun too. Now that one weighs 4.5 pounds.
Can't really tell much difference.
It's got the 7.4 volt. No, they're really close with each other. These batteries charge in 1.5 hours, and what's great about them is actually, if you were ending a job, you're like, oh, my battery's dead. You can put these on a charger for 2 minutes, and it will give you 200 more shots.
Wow, that is nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
I mean, that's really...
And that's by design, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great idea.
So, and then they have the no marring tips on them, which I'm a huge fan. They're like a silicone, they grab really good. And in my opinion, these are the best. When you put them at all the angles, you're watching the driver and where it's putting that nail every time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So some people put their the tip or the safety on the bottom.
And it blocks
so if you're doing
view.
trim this way, left hand, you're going on, let's say, some bead, it won't pick up the safety. Well, this it does all the way around. So I'm going to fire this. This is solid oak right here, Mark. Look at how deep that is.
It's an 1/8 inch down.
Yeah, that's a 2.5 inch nail right there.
Oh, what will this shoot 2s?
That'll shoot 2s. So the 18 gauge will do 5/8 to 2 inch. The 16 will do 1 1/4 to 2.5 inch nails. Now this holds 100 nails. This holds 70.
One nice thing, back to the dry fire thing. For years I thought, oh, they were advertised, oh, it doesn't dry fire, and I always thought, is that big of a deal? Is it hard on it or what? But until I had my first gun that actually didn't dry fire, I realized that it eliminates that you're moving along, you're going to town, all of a sudden you're at your 8th staple and you realize the previous 6 didn't have any, you weren't shooting anything.
So I had a nail in that one when I did that, but if you look at now, it won't let me go because the nail's out. What's nice too is when you put the nails in on here.
You don't have to.
You just pull it back, let it go, catch it, but
it
tells you approximately what you have left.
Nice.
25, 30, it says that on there. So that's really nice. Plus, Paslode runs that 2-year service promise. If you have any issues, bring it in, they'll fix it. They've got a 5-year warranty, which is really great. I don't know. I've had so much good with Paslode.
Yeah, I've had probably 10 different, a siding guy with a bunch of different crews. That's all we ran for many, many years.
By far the best. I've tested a lot of guns. These are by far the best pinners that I've used.
Price?
So you're going to pay $399 for the 16 gauge. You're going to pay about $309 for the the 18
18,
gauge. But that includes a battery, charger, and my favorite, everyone, always, the case. The case. They got these nice cases. They stack, everything sits in there, and they thought ahead. So if you're gonna buy extra batteries, they got extra spots in the container that'll hold that stuff.
So speaking of batteries, I just noticed that this, it says there's like there's two positions for the battery
Good
to
point,
go
Mark.
in.
Yes. So there is 2 modes. What happens is it can't slide out, so it locks in, and it says off on there, which is really good, so you know it's off. If it's sitting in the case, it can't slide back in and
So
turn
why wouldn't
itself
you just
on.
leave, is there like a slow drain if you leave it in there?
Exactly. It'll actually eat, the gun will use, because you got the light here running,
Yep.
it'll eat the battery. But what these newer guns is they have, they'll sort of shut down and go into a sleep mode, so they won't use that energy. But the battery, it's 2 things for safety. The battery not to get eaten up sitting in there.
Yep.
Also, it's to keep it off, so you know that
yeah,
it's
it's
off.
easy.
It locks in there, which is really cool, and then you, like you did, you just push it in and you're done. Don't lose the batteries. I mean, it's really, they come with a pair of safety glasses as well, which is really cool. So the 16 gauge is the IM200 ALI, and this is the brand new 18, and this is the IM200 LI.2. So yeah, I mean, they're lightweight. It's just, they're impressive.
That feels great. I agree.
Yeah, these are awesome guns.
All right, thumbs up, Josh.
2 thumbs up.
All right, we'll see you next time.